Viral photo of Muslim female pilot praying in the cockpit. Sarah Widyanti Kusuma is now a trending topic in Indonesia. A co-pilot for the top-ranked Indonesian airline Garuda, she's become one of Indonesia's most admired women as a result of a photo of her currently circulating of her praying in the cockpit. The biggest Muslim population country in the world, Indonesia would be very proud of her. This photo was taken by her captain and posted to Instagram. When Kusuma speaks of her past before she became a pilot, she offers up plenty of surprises. As a child, she never dreamt of being a pilot, she wanted to be a spacewoman. But life changes, and she went on to audition for Indonesian Idol while also working as a sales girl promotion. But we never know what the future might hold. Sarah got a scholarship at Indonesia Aviation High School in 2005 and began pursuing her career as a pilot. She entered her training as the only female student among 34 male students in the school. 5 years later, Sarah had flown her first commercial airplane, a Boeing 737-300 Classic, as a co-pilot in Garuda. Now, Sarah's continuing her studies to become a pilot captain. You go, girl! Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews. See more pilots on TomoNews' cockpit.
Indonesian pilot fired for attempting to fly drunk. A budget airline in Indonesia is under investigation after one of its pilots was caught trying to fly a commercial Airbus while intoxicated. On December 28th, the tipsy pilot, 32-year-old Takad Perna, successfully bypassed security checkpoints, stumbling through the metal detector and dropping personal items along the way. The pilot then entered the cockpit and began making a largely incomprehensible pre-flight announcement that unnerved some, if not all, of the 154 passengers on board. Not wanting to put their lives in the hands of a flight captain barely able to string a sentence together, several passengers walked off the plane. Concerned, the passengers reported the pilot's strange behavior to CityLink airline staff, who then quickly had the pilot removed and replaced. The flight took off about an hour behind schedule, but better late than dead. The president and operational director of CityLink have both resigned over the incident, and the pilot has been fired as the investigation continues. 1 year ago, AirlineRatings.com ranked CityLink among the bottom 10 of the world's major airlines with the lowest safety ratings, 9 of which were from Indonesia. Since 2001, a reported 40 air accidents in Indonesia have resulted in fatalities. Factors for the country's failings range from outdated equipment and planes to runways that are too short. A shortage of skilled pilots, ground personnel, and most notably, air traffic controllers is also to blame, with only 1,400 people charged with monitoring the more than 10,000 Indonesian flights per day. According to an MIT statistician, 1 out of a million airline passengers will die on board an Indonesian flight, 25 times the death rate of airlines in the United States. That's not good.
An Air India flight was forced to land after the pilot was locked out of the cockpit after a toilet break on Monday. The pilot took a toilet break about 1 hour after the flight took off from Delhi. The cockpit door was jammed because a screw of the lock got loose and fell. It failed to open despite all efforts, which caused panic among the passengers. After contacting ground control, the co-pilot was forced to make an emergency landing in Bhopal. Ground maintenance engineers had to enter the cockpit through a window. The jammed door was fixed after 30 minutes. This is the third incident reported by Air India within a month.
Raging pilot kicks air marshal off flight. Marshal sues TSA. Federal Air Marshal David Maldonado is suing the Transportation Security Administration following an incident that happened on board an airplane at a New York airport back in 2012 that got him kicked off and suspended for a week. Maldonado boarded the flight with 2 other air marshals. One of the flight attendants spilled a tray of drinks on Maldonado and didn't apologize or clean up, but just laughed at him instead. He claims it was deliberate. Then he claims in his lawsuit that she offered a selection of meals to his fellow marshals, but only let him choose beef. He took up his complaints with the head flight attendant, but was told to visit the cockpit and talk to the pilot. But the pilot was taking none of his crap and swore at Maldonado before putting his military ID in his face and kicking him off the flight. Maldonado is suing the TSA for suspending him for a week and demoting him after he flipped out.
Say no to safe spaces on YouTube. Support TomoNews at patreon.com/TomoNews.
Report claims EgyptAir pilot spoke to air traffic control just before crash. A clearer picture of what happened on board an EgyptAir plane before it crashed is beginning to emerge. Egypt is currently leading a multi-nation search for the plane's black boxes in the eastern Mediterranean. But experts say data sent by the plane indicates it was brought down by an internal explosion. Leaked data suggests an explosion ripped through the right side of EgyptAir Flight 804 as it flew from Paris to Cairo last Thursday. French officials said smoke detectors on the plane were activated minutes before it crashed, but the cause of the smoke or fire remained unclear. The data was taken from the plane's aircraft communications addressing and reporting system, which sent 3 separate warnings. A French TV station report said the pilot spoke to air traffic control in Cairo about the smoke, contradicting official claims that there was no distress call. The report said the pilot spoke for several minutes, saying that smoke had engulfed parts of the plane and he was going to make an emergency descent. Just a few minutes later, the plane then vanished from radar in the early hours of Thursday morning. Experts say a bomb could be responsible for the explosion, but no terrorist group has claimed responsibility for the crash. The search for the plane's black boxes continued on Monday as Egypt mourned the loss of 30 of its citizens. Some 56 passengers and 10 crew members were aboard the fatal flight when it crashed, including 15 French nationals.